TRW back here with La Reconquista, Middle Ages, centuries 8 to 15. This is a game published in ALEA, the Review of Games, Spanish Wargaming magazine from November 2011. Again, this is by designer is where is it? Designer is Enrique Martí. All right, let's talk about it. So I like it a lot. Primarily because it succeeds in what it tries to do. La Reconquista is a game system with generic units. It also has generic terrain markers for two players, simulating the great battles of the Middle Ages, with special emphasis on those which took place in the Iberian Peninsula from the 8th to the 15th centuries. So let's talk about the battles. You get 30 battles, most of which I've never heard of, although playing the game so far has definitely made me want to look up some of these battles. Actually, I've looked up it. Every battle I've looked at playing here, I've looked up the history of it. So, all right, this is going to be a real challenge, but I'm going to try it. So, in order, we have Guadalete, which I think it was the first major battle of the Reconquista era. You have Gormaz, battle number 3, Samancas, battle number 4, Matabu, battle number 5, Cord, which is what I've been playing right here, shown on the screen here, shown in the video. 6, Biden, 7, Kutonda, battle number 8, Portopi. Again, none of these so far I'd heard of before. Battle number 9, Zalaca. Battle number 10, Alarcos. Battle number 11, Ucles. Battle number 12, Alcoraz. Battle number 13, Maria. Battle number 14, Martorell. Battle number 15, Las Navas. That's the main one. That's the famous Las Navas de Tolosa. So that's battle number 15 of 30 that come with the game. The Battle of Las Navas de Tolosa, fought in 1212. Looks like there's an article. Yes, there is. There's an article in the magazine about this battle. Looks like the turning point of the Reconquista. And it has like a strategic background for the Christian side and the Islamic side, the Muslim side. You have sections on Christian army tactics and Muslim army tactics. You have historiographical notes about, I guess, the history of this battle. Again, Las Navas de Tolosa. And then you have orders of battle, historical orders of battle for the battle. Again, fought in 1212, all very interesting. So the Christian army and the Almohada army, all very, very, very interesting. All right. Battle number 16, Moklin. Battle number 17, Salado. Battle number 18, Higurela. Wow. Not sure how to pronounce that one at all. No, okay, finally, after all of those, although I had heard of Las Navas de Tolosa, we get to battle number 19. That's Poitiers, France, 732. Very well-known battle, obviously. Roncesvalles, battle number 20. I think that's the famous battle with who is it? The famous Charlemagne. That's what it is, Charlemagne. Roncesvalles fought in 719. Battle number 21, Muret in France, 1213. I've heard of that one too. Battle number 22, definitely heard of Nicopolis, fought in Bulgaria, in modern-day Bulgaria, 1396. Battle number 23, Olax, fought in Turkey, 1303. Battle number 24, Mount Taurus, fought in Turkey in 1304. Battle Apro in Greece, 1305. Battle number 26, SVIII, Greece, 1311. Battle number 27, Covadonga. So now we're back, I think, to the Reconquista battles. Number 28, Clavio. Battle number 29, Calatanyazor. Whoa. And battle number 30, Fraga. So 30 battles, which is great. You get, with that, you get a total of 53 historical notes. Each historical note is a paragraph. Let me see a good, well, actually the translations aren't that good. So I won't even try to show an example, but 53 very interesting historical notes that apply to all these different battles. Oh, here we go. Historical note number 48, Turcopoles, the most famous mercenary body of Asia Minor since the time of the Crusades. The Turcopoles, no doubt the former enemies of the Catalan company before his cap, or commander-in-chief, was murdered, Roger de Luria, and the beginning of the Catalan vengeance, or the Catalan, not really vengeance, but now the word escapes me. Till recently in rural Greece, Catalan was synonymous with I'm not even going to try to finish that one. I'm not sure that's a good English translation at all. But anyways, very interesting historical notes that just draw you into looking up all different sorts of personalities, political and social and religious events, places, not to mention the military stuff like tactics and unit types and all that. Great stuff. So I think this really succeeds as a system game. I do think I have reason to believe now with what I played that each of these 30 battles is distinct enough because of variable terrain, and special rules adding to the basic mechanics of movement and combat. Again, 10 unit types on each side. And player cards. I think that it's a good system game. I think you get the variety through, again, the system cards, historical notes, special rules, and variable terrain, and good distinction between unit types. Let's see, what did I forget? Well, actually, you throw in some variability with victory points earned for capturing banners, as well as the variability in the number of activation points. Yeah, it's really good. It all comes together. All right, so what have I not gone over? There's good distinction between ranged combat and melee. I like how leaders are not locked into individual personalities with counters, but instead each side most times has a single Moloch counter or leader counter. I like that. Sequence of play is interesting enough. Basically having two impulses, two movement impulses and two combat impulses per player per turn. Again, you have the game cards, something like 15 15 altogether. Yeah. Each side has a camp marker, the camp marker is, let's see. Yeah, so a camp can be basically sacked or taken by the opposing side. Otherwise, the camp serves as a origination point for your replacements. There are interesting rules for replacements. Replacements are not automatic. It's pretty interesting. And zones of control. You have the zones of control as all 6 adjacent hexes, but not all units have a zone of control. Basically, about half of your units have. Your cavalry and your crossbow units have a zone of control. Others do not. Let's see. Melee is interesting. This game is not a bucket of. This isn't really a bucket of dice system, or you might say it's a modified bucket of dice system. You basically have 1 attack die, 2 attack dice, and 3 attack dice units. You're rolling, you're totaling that number. You're not looking for results on each individual die, but instead you're looking at the total. So a total on 1 6-sided die, the total on 2 6-sided dice, and the total on 3 6-sided dice. And then you're looking for basically, you're looking to roll high enough to get the best possible outcome. Melee outcomes, or I guess combat outcomes, are of 3 types. You have a basic retreat or withdrawal, which is just move 1 hex back. Then you have what's called in this game, or in the translation, called a rally, or what you might call a rout. Here, units just force back 2 hexes. The first hex being chosen by the attacker, the second hex by the defender. And then you have what's called decimated, which is really loss of a strength point or step of strength. The game does use, I guess, what you would call the very, very basics of steps. I think you basically have 2, 3, and 4 step units. That's what I saw anyway. So far, 2, 3, or 4 step units, which is comparable to the Royalist and Roundhead series, and about the same level of rules involvement. Victory conditions, you're definitely trying to eliminate enemy units. Beyond that, you're trying to eliminate the units, or the unit stacked with the Moloch counter or leader counter. And then you seize a banner, which is worth a random number of victory points. And then you have your scenarios and your historical notes. Rules are actually surprisingly in workable shape, considering that it's really a very rough English translation of the original Spanish. I did incorporate a number of separate markers to keep track of some game statuses and functions, but I find myself doing that often with many games. The variability of terrain is great. So it's not just that being in a forest gives you a +2 die roll modifier, but it gives you a variable die roll modifier, which is interesting. Interesting, and adds to the narrative value of the play. Combat is, again, it all basically works. Yeah, it all basically works. So I'll just leave it there. Let me talk about just one thing, since I like it all. This system, game system, it does remind me a bit of Ancient Battles Deluxe. That is the game that I thought of a number of times as I was looking at this one here. So I think it bears some similarities to ABD, and ABD is pretty interesting actually for how streamlined and pared down it is. I found it interesting enough. This is, I think, this generates, I think, the same kind of interesting gameplay, but I would actually say that this is a bit better. There's a bit more to it, a bit more uniqueness to the game mechanics, and a bit more uniqueness to the components. But yeah, similarities. I would definitely draw similarities, positive similarities, I should say, between this and Ancient Battles Deluxe.